Well, I had a meeting with Simon this evening, and he gave me the results of the X Factor, himself and the rest of the jury. I said, "Are there any shocks in it, Simon?" He says, "Not really." I said, "Well, who won it then?" He said, "Well, first place went to the mayor." I said, "What? A load of rubbish he sang." He said, "Arthur, any more comments like that and you will be barred." I said, "Well, I don't believe that." I said, "Who came second then?" He says, "Graham Evans." Graham Evans? He sounded like Pinky and Perky. It weren't even his own voice. He said, "Arthur, do you mind?" "Oh, go on then. Who came third?" He said, "Eggy." I said, "What, that Welsh twat? That's a joke." He said, "Your final warning, Arthur. Will you please let me continue with the results?" I said, "Yeah, go on then. Who's next?" He said, "Georgie." "Georgie?" He sang unaccompanied, and the cats were screeching out there and the dogs were howling. I said, "Well, Georgie came fourth." "That's right." I said, "Well, who else?" He says, "Rob." I said, "Another Welsh twat." He says, "Please, we felt he sang well, but he should sing songs of faith and inspiration. Welsh songs of faith and inspiration." I said, "Well, yeah, I do agree with you there." He says, "And Liverpool Boxing Baby, I think that's her username, she came next." I says, "Well, she was good. She weren't as good as me. You haven't mentioned me yet, Simon." He says, he says, "Be patient, Arthur." "And who else?" "So who's the next one then, Simon?" He says, "B. Arthur." I said, "What?" She sounded like a cat in pain. It should have been put down years ago. He said, "That is a very disrespectful thing to say about that nice, sweet lady." I says, "Well, yeah, I agree. She's going to be mortally offended." Oh dear, I can't wait. I says, "Who else?" He said, "Gollum." "Gollum?" Well, I've never heard his entry, because I haven't altered any settings on YouTube. If my settings have been altered, they've been altered by YouTube/Google. But he got in, did he? Yeah. I says, "Who else?" He says, "Well, we didn't get an entry from Sam." He said, "And for that we are extremely grateful." I don't quite know what Sam meant. I don't quite know what Simon meant by that. What do you think he meant by that? Him and the jury were extremely grateful that they didn't get an entry from Sam, so I felt I had to stick up for him. I says, "No, come on, Sam's got a fine singing voice." True, he has difficulty staying in key, and Simon said, "Well, we've heard a bit of his music and we think it will be a fucking miracle if he managed to get through a song staying in the same key." I said, "No, come on, I can't allow you to slag him off like that, Simon. You know, he's a very dear friend to all of us. I want an apology from you, Simon." But he wouldn't give me one. Then he said, "Scooby." I said, "Well, Scooby never even did one." "Oh, yes, he did, Arthur." And they says, "As for the rest of them, really, very mediocre." I said, "Well, you haven't mentioned me, Simon." "Well, what about me?" He says, "Well, you came last, Arthur." Last. He said, "Yes, we felt your songs were corny and old-fashioned." I said, "I've never been so insulted in all my life. You've got to remember, I'm knocking on a bit. My songs are for the older generation, of which there are plenty about. Some people who look as though they should have been in a coffin years ago. I mean, look at Bruce Forsyth. Please, stick him in the coffin and I'll happily come along and screw the lid down. This was last. I'm astounded. He said, well, I have to say, Arthur, the rest of them were not even they're not even worth mentioning, and I would like you to tell them all not to bother even entering next time. So on your behalf I hit him with my handbag, and then I was carted away by his minders, protesting loudly. I'm going to raise a petition to get the title away from the mayor, because he didn't deserve it. And as for Graham Evans, and then they tasered me to shut me up. Yeah, but I will not be beaten, no, because I haven't got it set up. I'll not be beaten because I am going to enter the American X Factor, and I'm going to sing my first song. You place gold on my finger, you brought love like I never knowed. You gave life to our children, and to me a reason to go on. You're my bread when I'm hungry, you're my shelter from troubled winds, you're my anchor in life's ocean, but most of all, you're my best friend. Don Williams is accompanying me. That's nice, isn't it? When I need hope and inspiration, you're always strong when I'm tired and weak. I could search this whole world over, you'd still be everything I need. You're my bread when I'm hungry, you're my shelter from troubled winds, you're my anchor in life's ocean, but most of all, you're my best friend. Shut up, Don. You're my bread when I'm hungry, you're my shelter from troubled wind. I have problems with wind, actually. You're my anchor in life's ocean, but most of all, you lot are not anymore my best friend, you rotten bastards. Thank you. Accompanied there by Don Williams. And it's copyright, so I can't wait to hear what YouTube's going to say. And that is my entry, first entry for the American the first entry for the American X Factor. And I'm still stunned, the fact that I came last. Corny and old-fashioned. Some people may say that is. But you know, you can't expect someone of my age to do rap, can you? I could have a go, yeah. I could even do reggae. Is it reggae? What's that thing where, you know, I got out of bed and I walked down the street right down to the supermarket. Oh, do you know what I bought? Dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. I could do stuff like that, but you know, it's not really suitable for an esteemed gentleman like me of royalty, King Arthur. And I heard a knock on the door just now, and I think it's the men that in white coats that's coming to take me away. So I think I better go. But travesty, absolute. The Mayor, number 1. Graham Evans, number 2. Eggy. Ah, I'm disgusted. But I think that song will stop me off on the bottom rung of the American X Factor. It will. So please feel free, all of you, to put an entry in. But if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I won't be able to hear your entry. Somebody told me that Bennett Enification had done one. Well, he hasn't subscribed to my channel, so I'm not going to hear it. No. There are some I missed out, but as I said, Simon thought the standard was pretty poor. So I'm going to upload this and I'm going to bed. Right. So that is the results. Good night. Disgusted. Good night.